Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
So, Mike, hi.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. You want to introduce yourself? Do you want us to introduce you? How do you want to?
Let's let me try it, and then we'll see what you say after that. How about that?
All right.
Okay, we'll do both.
Yeah, let's do both. Okay. So I am Mike Schulte, fellow podcaster like you fellas, and I am the drummer for the world's worst named band in America, the Pork Tornadoes.
I don't know. There are worse names.
Oh, well, yeah, but it's pretty bad.
Bad is good, though. You know, sometimes it's memorable.
Memorable is the key, right?
My daughter thinks it's very funny.
So we should probably just tell the story. We should probably just get it out of the way, huh?
Probably, because my introduction would go something like, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mike Schulte joining us tonight from the Pork Tornadoes. Will we find out what a pork tornado is?
Mine was going to be more like, is it Schulte? I'm not sure. Schulte.
I'm going with Schulte, am I right?
Schulte is correct. Yes, it is.
All right.
Yay, points for me.
Good job.
I live around a lot of German people.
See, I am very, very Irish. You know, coming up here on St. Patrick's Day, I'm like 75% Irish, but I got that German last name.
Uh-huh.
That's the 25%. It's stubborn. It's coming through in my last name there.
That's funny.
Yeah, I work with a couple of Schultes.
There's no famous Schultes though, you know, like I don't think there's anybody out there that's like, oh yeah, or like if your last name's Cruz, you're going, oh, are you related to Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
No, there's not a Schulte that everybody knows.
I don't think so.
No.
We were hoping to find somebody Irish to come on for St. Patty's.
There you go.
This week.
Yeah.
So this will be our next best. Whoever we got a hold of in actual Ireland. Time schedules were kind of hard to work out.
Oh, you were going to get somebody from Ireland?
Yeah, we've had a couple of Irish guests on.
Cool.
We know some cats over there. Yeah, it just didn't pan out. But then again, I was thinking, you know, it's kind of racist, yo.
You know what? I asked him.
You asked him that? Like,
I was like, is it weird for me to like for somebody to ask if an Irish person wants to come on? And he was like, no, I think it's awesome. We love St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it's good.
yeah,
Should we at least ask them?
yeah, I probably should ask.
I made my first trip over to Ireland. I've wanted to go my whole life. I went over there in like 2018. Have you guys ever been there before?
Yes, I went there on my honeymoon in 96, 97, something like that. Oh my God, I love that country.
It was so awesome. It was, I mean, I want to go back. I didn't spend enough time there to even see everything I wanted.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I spent one night there. What was it? So my story is I was on a trip to Austria and Hungary, and that was a wild trip in itself. My choir in high school toured Austria and Hungary, which was pretty cool. But we took everything was just as cheap as we could get it, so we took Romanian Airlines.
Oh,
it's called to Rome. And this was like while the Iron Curtain was up, so it was still like super communist, and you know all the Rambo movies and shit were coming out, and
yeah.
So, oh, shit. I went through the Iron Curtain, but Ireland comes into play. Coming back, we had a stop in Shannon, Ireland, and the plane broke down. There was like this big clunk, and we just sat in the airplane for like an hour or two. Finally, they're like, okay, everybody out of the plane. So we sat in the airport forever, and then they were like, yeah, we're going to have to fly in another plane from Romania. So, and they put us up in a hotel for the night, and it was already getting like really late. So apparently the hotel was like in a castle. So I stayed the night there, but that was it.
That was it.
I didn't really see any more of Ireland than that.
But you've been there. You can officially.
I have technically been there.
My rule is you have to leave the airport to say you've been there. You have to get outside of the airport to say I've been to this state or this country.
Yeah, I'd agree. I had a cigarette in Seattle outside.
So that counts.
That counts. There you go.
And that is another country.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right.
No, I stayed quite a bit in Ireland. I didn't go up north. The troubles and whatnot weren't really going on up there as frequently, but it was still, a bit dicey
Right.
up north at that time. But we stayed like in Kinsale. We had all around the coast around there, Killarney, Cork.
Dingle, to get to Dingle.
Yeah. I went to Dingle Bay.
Dingle was so cool.
Beautiful. Saw the dolphins out there. And, it's the only country, like I've said, that I've been around a few places in the world. It's the only country I would move to and live there, I think.
Okay. I could get down on that.
Yeah. A lot of other places, great to visit, great even to stay a long time.
Yeah.
But I like being American,
Right.
Yeah.
It's great here.
No, I connect with Irish people pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that.
Yeah, the people were just so great. The thing is, though, towards the end of the trip, it was like we got a good deal on a package like before the tour season, so it rained the entire time we were there.
Oh, geez.
But I loved it anyway. We both had a blast. But still, it was like towards the end of the vacation, like, everybody loved us. We were the little American couple in town. We were so cute and adorable. Then all the tourists started showing up. And boy, they were all like really, and not that all wealthy people are this way, but they were extremely wealthy pricks,
Right.
and just everywhere, just the most obnoxious people. It's like,
That's why. That's
Yeah.
why everyone hates us.
right?
Yep.
That's why they don't like
No,
Americans.
you do see it when you travel, and you're just like
Yeah.
embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, and then you figure, well, these are the ones who can afford to travel here all the time.
Right.
Of course. Yeah. The ones that are used to it all the time. I had a crazy story. A guy from Ireland found my band, over a couple years before I went to Ireland, and had commented and said, "Hey, we love you in Ireland.
Awesome.
Come play a show here." And it's like, well, we're not going to do that. But I had recognized, I run the social media with the band, so I had recognized his name enough to where I said, "Oh man, I'm going to Ireland. I should message this guy. He's a bearded dude like me. He plays in a band. I feel like I can trust this guy." So I messaged him and I said, I'm coming over with my wife and my brother and his wife, and we're going to be in these places. Do you live anywhere nearby? And he said, "Oh yeah, we're like an hour away from Dingle." He said, "What if we'll get a babysitter for the kids, and me and my wife will come down, and we'll stay in a hotel, and we'll just meet you for some drinks." I'm like, okay. And I didn't realize how weird that was until I told my brother and my wife, and they're like, "Wait, so you're just meeting a random person?" And they said, "Where?" I go, "Well, we're supposed to meet at this bar." And they're like, "How do you know who he is?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just going to walk in and go, I think that's the guy." So they were like, "You're getting catfished. I have a feeling this is just somebody that is totally."
Right.
And the best part is we arrive and there's the guy I thought was going to be there. But he said that his wife was saying the same thing. Like, "You're getting catfished. This is not going to work out." And so we spent 8 hours just Guinness and whiskey back and forth for 8 solid hours. They took us to some weird, what do they call it? They call them off-market bars, or on-market and off-market bars, where where the on ones close at like 9:00, but off-market ones can stay open late, and they don't usually let tourists into that stuff. But because we knew these guys, they let us in there. And so that was the worst hangover I had on that trip. We drove where all the Star Wars film locations were for the newest Star Wars movies, and I just slept in the back seat going, I'm not getting out of this car.
Wow, beautiful. Whoop.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I have a little bit of the same thing. I know John and I, we've met a lot of, or not haven't met a lot of people like in person, but we've talked to so many people, and they're always like, "Yeah, if you're ever out this way." So every time my wife and I, and obviously we dream about vacation right now, we're not going anywhere. And anytime we come up with someplace, "Oh, I know," and my wife just is always like, "Do you really want to do that?
Are you sure?
Meet these people. You've just talked to them on your pod. That's kind of weird." No, but they're cool, baby. You'll see.
Sometimes those are the coolest thing. Like, I mean, these guys are now lifelong friends, right? I would love if they would come over here and visit. And sometimes you gotta take those chances on the internet, people that you meet, and especially By the way, I've been just getting into your podcast, and I'm very much enjoying it. I've been trying to dive into as much as I can, and I'm just kind of picking and choosing and going all over the place. But when you get to talk to that many cool people and have awesome conversations. Why would you not hit them up and get that local experience anywhere you go? I think that's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I think it's cool. And speaking of like connecting with people, we got you through a mutual friend, Will Whitmore.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Will just I think I just saw it on his Instagram. He said, "Oh, new," because you were just, what was that, within the last month? Maybe you talked to him.
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, I was looking for a, you know how podcasts come and go. Sometimes you have so many that you can't keep up with, and sometimes you're sitting there going, every day you wake up, come on, is there a new episode? I want something.
Right.
Oh, nothing new.
Right.
And I think he posted about it on his Instagram, and I said, "Oh, cool." I love hearing Will talk. I love when he just tells crazy stories, and you never know what you're going to get, kind of a thing. So I listened and enjoyed so much, and then I went back, and I think you talked to him before. I listened to that one, and then I just started hitting some of your repertoire. So yeah, that was how we made that connection, I think.
Oh man, well thanks. That just makes me feel good. I appreciate that.
Warms the old cockles.
It does.
Makes it feel worthwhile, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a lot of fun for us. There's no point in doing it if you're not having fun, and hopefully it's fun for the people that come on.
But for those who aren't familiar with your work, so you got started back. I was listening to some of your older catalog with like Brian Jones, your original band.
Yeah.
Oh, great Joy Division cover, by the way.
Yeah, did you like that?
I thought it was the best Joy Division cover of that I've heard.
That was good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We put a lot into that one. We were very happy about that, and I think that's one of our best things that we did back in the day, for sure.
Yeah, that track in particular.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That track it's just fun to, not many people are covering Joy Division kind of stuff, and,
Right.
And we weren't a cover band, but we're like, man, we gotta do this. We got to do a cool take on this. And that was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that certainly changed for you.
Yeah.
well, back in the day, I definitely had a fuck cover band mentality, like many original band artists do.
Sure.
It has since very much changed, because that is what I do now.
Right.
So I just had a conversation with my kid this week, because he's playing drums. He's learning to play drums, and he won't play with any other like songs. It just has to be him playing. And finally I was like, dude, I know you want to be in a band someday. Don't you want to like practice playing along with songs and stuff? He's like, Dad, I really just want to play my own stuff. I don't really want to play along with anybody else's stuff. But shit.
Isn't that weird though? Because I was actually just thinking about, when you were saying that, how strange that is that your kid said that, because any musician that has ever played always starts out essentially as like a cover artist, right? Because that's how you learn how to play. That's how I learned how to play drums. I just randomly got a drum set, and I took my parents' Phil Collins and Van Halen CDs and whatever, and I just put them in a CD player and just tried to mimic them and tried to play along to them. And something changes eventually. Once you learn, you then go, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I would like to write my own stuff. I'd like to have that camaraderie of starting a band and writing original music. And then every once in a while, then you come full circle back around. I've had a lot of conversations with people that, I did the original band stuff from, let's see, my first band was like 1994. It was just a high school band. And then I met the guys in Brian Jones, which was my main original act. We played from 99 to 2006. We did two studio albums. One of them was actually, we recorded with Matt Talbot from Hum.
Oh, right on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was called like Great Western Record Recording, but now I think it's called like Analog Earth or something. It's right outside of Champaign, Illinois. He's got this incredible studio there. So we did some really cool stuff. We toured, we played, and it just, we didn't, I'm air quoting right now, we didn't make it, right? We had some great local success and sold some albums and stuff, but it sort of fizzled out. And now all of a sudden you're an adult, you're in your mid to late 20s, and the bills are racking up, and you've graduated college, and you go, well, I'm an adult now, and so I don't do this. I don't do this childish music thing anymore, right? And
Right.
like many people, that's the end of it. You just stop. And it was for me. I stopped. I got a job in corporate America, and I just couldn't believe this was going to be my life now for the rest of 40, 50 years. Going, this sucks. And luckily, I met a guy who was also kind of going through the same thing as me. He had been in an original band doing the same thing, finding some success, but then the band broke up and now he's trying to get a job and feed his kids and his family. And he goes, I'll never forget it. He just goes, "Hey man, you want to join this cover band? You want to start a cover band with me?" And I laughed at him. I said, "No, are you kidding me? Why would I ever play cover music? I mean, I'm not going to wear cargo shorts on stage and, like those terrible, you've seen the old man classic rock cover bands before, and you're like, I'm not doing that. That is not me."
Right.
And he goes, no, come on. It'll be fun. We'll do some fun tunes. And eventually I kind of just said yes, because I kind of wanted some money. He starts going, "Well, we can make $100 a show." I'm $100 a show.
Yeah,
I haven't made $1 playing music for the last 10 years. It all goes back into the band. When you're an original band, it funds those CDs and gas money. But $100? Are you kidding me? All right. And so I said yes. And it's crazy how that one moment sort of revitalized my love for playing music. And it's, it's not what I foresaw myself doing. Right. But some of the things that I've achieved in the last 10 years as a cover artist has been the stuff I've wanted all my life that I never got to do. Right. Those big shows, those thousands and thousands of people, the making money playing music. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
No, and I just kind of checking your shit out, and I pulled up a video. I can't even remember which song it was I was looking at, but just the crowd you had there, I was like, holy fuck.
Right.
How's this cover band doing this? That's awesome, man.
It's weird, right? I mean, it's not the same. And I'm sure some of your listeners might be like, "Oh my God, cover band," and turn off the thing. But it's different, right? It's we're not your traditional cover band. We're 4 dudes that came from the original band scene and came from that DIY hustle and that you got to make your own luck kind of mentality. And we took that and just applied it to this cover band world, where most of the time you start a band with your buddies, you learn Sweet Child of Mine, and then you go to the bar and you play, and that's it. Right.
Yeah.
But we just kept pushing. We kept saying, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. We need to come up with our own versions of these songs. And we need to actually create events that people want to come to and want to have a good time. And then, it evolved into raising money for charities while we were doing these things and making cool music videos. And it just, I don't really know what happened and how it happened, but it evolved into this thing that I don't know. I'm unbelievably thankful, for the stuff that has happened. Right. And the coolest thing then is that it's come full circle again, where it's now allowed me to get back into some original music. Right. So that's how I know Will was, I idolized Will Whitmore like many people do. He was a little bit older than me. He was in a circle of bands that were a little more successful than I was back when I first met him. So I just kind of knew him tentatively. But the fact that I kept playing music and really honed my craft over the last decade was what allowed his cousin Luke Tweedy to call me up for a random studio session. This was like when he re-recorded his first 3 albums. Remember, he had that thing where he had to re-record those first 3 albums. He was in a bind. And he needed a drummer. And I'll never forget it. He emailed me like typical super nice Will Whitmore fashion. He's like, "Hi, I don't know if you know who I am, but my name's Will Whitmore." I was like, "Of course I know who you are." I don't know if you remember me, but I've fanboyed over you my entire college career. Yes, I know who you are. And he said, I need a drummer tomorrow. I know it's last minute, but I'm wondering if you could come down to the studio. And I remember checking my phone calendar and I was booked. I mean, I was solid booked. And I said, "Yep, I'm completely available. I'll be down there," and canceled everything. And taking that that moment and going and saying, hey, I really want to help out Will. And it led to then I played drums on Radium Death and then Killanova and the recent one, I'm With You. And then that developed a really cool friendship with Will. He knew I could do well in the studio. And then we did Hallways of Always together, the newest album.
Yeah.
Which is so good. And then
great.
Recently Dope Walker, which was like one of the coolest things for me of all time. And that talking full circle, right? You know, being a kid, a 21-year-old kid in Iowa City, Iowa, idolizing Will Whitmore, idolizing Joel Anderson of 10 Grand and the Plastic Constellations from the Twin Cities, just idolizing these guys, and then getting asked to be in a band with them was probably one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. And it's weird. I owe it all to saying yes to being in a cover band like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It was the only reason that I kept up on my craft and kept working hard. So it's just been a weird music career here, fellas.
But, you know, I mean, a couple of things about cover bands to me is, first of all, I think people need to lighten up. They're fun. They're good shows. I've had some of the best times of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, man, the last time we went to a cover band, remember going to see Posse in Effect?
Mm-hmm.
Beastie Boys.
Hi, Posse in Effect, the Beastie Boys?
Yeah, Beastie Boys cover band.
My cousin Brian plays drums for that band.
Oh, does he? Right. Oh,
look at that. Look at that.
There, we did it already. Yeah.
They were so good. I wanted to see them. So I was planning on going to St. Louis to see them. And then, of course, all this stuff of the last year happened. But, man, I can't wait to see those guys.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a great time.
The DJ, I can't remember his name, that opened for them was amazing.
Yeah. That's a good time. It's a whole production, you know, it's a whole show. The second thing too, I can remember talking to a friend of mine who is in another cover band and in another side band. I don't want to give his name and talk out of school, but he was like, you know, I asked him, I said what he felt about that as far as the cool points or whatever, playing with a cover band or not playing with a cover band. He's like, dude, I've never written an original song in my life. He's like, I'm a drummer. I play like what they tell me to play. So every song is a cover song for me.
Very true, right?
I was like, it's a good point, man. You know, if you don't have the writing credits, it's not yours anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, tell me what to play. I'll play it. I guess I technically covered Will Whitmore when I played on his first 3 albums. They were already written. I just had to learn the parts that were already written, and I played them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and cover bands, I mean, I remember why I hated it as a 20-year-old in an original band, because I get it. I understand it. You are putting all of this passion and time and energy into creating something and writing music, and you do it and you finally release it, and then nothing really happens, right? And you get the 50 people that come to your show and they really love it, but you can't seem to get a radio station to play it. And too often you hear that where it's not, I'm making the music for me, I'm making it for me, but you also really, wouldn't it be cool to make a living off of this and that to know that people appreciate what you do? And then you take that despair and you walk down the street and you see this outdoor amphitheater that has 2,000 people in it watching a band butcher Sweet Home Alabama, and you're like,
right?
I get it, because I was there, and I don't know. It's where I live in Iowa. I'm in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and there's always been this really huge battle between cover bands and original bands, and this hatred, and I think it's kind of everywhere. And again, I totally get it, but man, I don't know. It's tough. I guess what 80% of cover bands aren't really that good. So I can understand why people have that bad mentality. But then you see these tribute acts like My Posse in Effect, where think about the remainder of 2021, where things may return to normal slightly, right? You know, these limited capacity things where Beastie Boys is a bad example, but let's say the Foo Fighters are not going to tour in 2021,
right?
But you can see a really kick-ass tribute band of the Foo Fighters for what, $10 and still have a really great time with your friends. So that's where I think cover bands and tribute bands might really serve a huge purpose here in 2021 or even early 2022 before we can kind of hopefully, I mean, whatever that new normal is, hopefully we can get to that point where big shows can start happening again.
Oh man, hopefully.
Well, it makes me think too of a shout out to our friends in Interstellar Overdrive.
Oh yeah,
covering Pink Floyd.
Oh, cool.
Go try to afford those tickets, and yeah, go hope they show up at all, and don't cancel. But man, they put on a great production too.
They put a lot into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I think bands can take it to there are those tiers of cover bands, right? Where you just got your local dads rocking out, trying to get away from the family at the local bar, playing the classic rock stuff. I mean, okay, whatever. That serves a purpose.
Right.
But then you've got all these bands that are taking it to the next level with the production and the investing in themselves. I mean, we employ 4 roadies right now. We employ a crew of 4 production people, front of house sound and lights and video walls and stuff.
That's not a small deal.
Right?
Right.
And you get the more you do, the more money you owe to people, and the more you have to keep upping your production value and your shows, and so it's like people view it as, oh look, they just played that show and they walked away with $20,000. No, if that didn't happen, I sure wish it would,
Right. And I think too with your sound, I think you guys put enough of a spin on it. Yeah, I love something you guys posted the other day that was something effective. Which song the Pork Tortinos do better than the original?
Yeah. I couldn't decide. I couldn't
either. I kept scrolling through them, but
well, we've got a lot of. I think that's what. And for those that don't know the band, it's called the Pork Tornadoes, and we play. I mean, mostly, I guess we're kind of known for taking pop songs and sort of adding a bit of a rock flair to them. And I've had many heavy metal dude friends of mine come to a show and say, hey, listen, I hate Taylor Swift. She is the worst. But if Taylor Swift sounded like you, I'd be okay with it. And I took that as a very big compliment. Right. Okay. Oh my God. Thank you, man.
Yep. And you got to do some pretty cool stuff. I mean, you threw out Phil Collins a little line. You get to play the line that everybody wants to play, right? Every drummer dreams, I would imagine, of In the Air Tonight.
You dream. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night thinking I missed the Phil of that song. And I go, oh my God, did I miss it? No, that like I told you, I vividly remember my mom was a huge Phil Collins fan, and she had CDs of it. And so that's how I taught myself to play the drums, and to think that you can then do that on stage in front of a lot of people. And I don't know if you saw, we had a few weird viral moments happen over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
One of them was we got to play the official Minnesota Vikings tailgate.
Nice.
September 2019, they that beautiful stadium they have up there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And they have this huge courtyard where they set up a stage, and every time before the game, there's a band that plays. And we got asked to play, and we were there and we were playing. And the Minnesota Vikings have a drum line, an official drum line called the Skull Line. I don't know if other NFL teams have drum lines and marching bands and stuff, but these guys do. And I'm a sucker for drum lines.
Yeah.
I love listening to marching bands and drum lines. And so they're walking through this courtyard. We had to take a quick break so that they could do this performance before they go into the stadium. And I'm sitting here going, we got to capitalize on this. There are maybe 5,000 drunk people standing around right now. What if we got them to join us for a song? And of course, the first thing you think of is In the Air Tonight. So I ran over and talked to their director. I said, hey, I know you got to get in the stadium, but what if we played In the Air Tonight together and you guys all came in on the solo? He goes, well, we got to make it to the stadium. I go, no. This might go viral. You should think about this. And he paused and he said, all right, let's do it. And it was funny. We started the song, and there's 2 to 3 minutes before that Phil comes in, and I saw him talking to the drummers, and a lot of them knew right away. They go, oh hell yeah, the older guys, right? The younger ones, they go, In the Air Tonight. What?
It's iconic.
And you could see him. A guy would kind of mimic the oh yeah, that song, right?
Yeah.
And so we filmed it. We just had one of our roadies stand there with a camera, right, and just film it. And I posted it on our Facebook page as we were packing up for the show. And I'll never forget, about 30 minutes later, we stopped at a gas station and it had 50,000 views. Oh,
holy shit.
And then about an hour later, it's somebody from the back seat. Dude, 200,000 views? Are you kidding me? And by the time we got home, it was a Sunday afternoon. So we drove home after that. It was at like 500,000 views by the time we got home. It just found some weird virality, right? And so it hit 1 million views on our page, and then some huge page stole the video, which they like to do. You know, they've got millions and millions of fans, but I was lucky enough to put our little logo in the corner there that they couldn't take out. So
there you go.
Then that page put it on their post and it was like 4 million views. And it was just, we've had some weird little moments like that where I attest that to my original band DIY attitude and senses of like,
yeah,
let's not let someone else do this, let's do it ourselves and let's make this happen. And so like those weird little moments have been kind of some of the catalysts for this band of taking us from playing shows to nobody to having some bigger events that we've put on.
Yeah, and the other one was the Chris Stapleton cover.
Yeah, Tennessee Whiskey.
How many hits did that get?
That's on our YouTube, and that's approaching 6 million or something like that.
Wow.
It's the fourth highest viewed cover of Tennessee Whiskey, which by the way, there are quadrillion covers of Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was a weird thing too, where this is actually super personal and weird, but I'm definitely going to share it with you guys, is a nursing home in like 2015 contacted us and they said, hey, we're really big fans of you guys. They said, we need an anthem for our residents to remind them to wash their hands. We said, what? And so they go, we want you to re-record Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, but we want you to change the words to Can't Stop the Cleaning. And they handed our singer a script and said, here's the words. And it was all like, I've got hot water, I've got my soap. And like, so we agreed. We said, okay, you're giving us money for this. This is great. And you're paying for the studio time. We will gladly do this, but we will under no circumstances let anyone know that we've done this, because it's the dumbest thing we've ever done. And of course we did keep it under wraps until about, what was it, April? Actually, about this time last year, we said, well, this is the perfect time to actually release this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We did eventually tell the public about it. But here's what's crazy. We were in the studio recording Can't Stop the Cleaning. We had a little extra time and we said, well, we're in the studio already. What's a song we could do? And I think we just learned Tennessee Whiskey and played it at a wedding or something. And they said, oh, let's just do it. And I remember specifically not being excited about it, going, oh, whatever, this song. And we recorded it and just threw a video up on YouTube. And at that point, our channel had barely anybody looking at it. And that's what I preach to bands, whether you're original or you're covers or you're a podcast or you do anything. It's like, just put it out there.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen, because it just somehow people found that and they latched onto it and said, this is a cool version. And I guess truthfully, I don't really know Chris Stapleton actually, so it's a cover of a cover of a cover, basically.
Right.
Did David Allan Coe write that song originally?
I don't know if he wrote it, but I know he did a version.
Right.
And George Jones did a version.
Right. So I don't know which one was first. I don't know the chicken and the egg on that.
Right. And then Stapleton made it popular recently. And so I don't know, maybe we just put a weird enough of a rock twinge onto it or whatever. But those have been really big things for us to take us from being a local Iowa band to being popular around the US and around the world, kind of. And I know a lot of people shy away from the internet sometimes, being like, oh, it's so dumb and it's a lot of work. But you just never know. It as much as we all hate the arguing on Facebook, and especially during the recent like political times, there's never been a time where you can just reach some random person around the globe randomly with your content and your music and your podcast.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And, I'm thankful for it. As much as I talk shit about Facebook every day, I'm pretty thankful for it too at the same time,
Yeah.
No, it's an extraordinary way to connect if you use it in the right way. A lot of people don't use it in the right way.
Right.
Tennessee Whiskey is a country song written by Dean Dillon and Linda Hargrove.
See?
Okay, that's right. But performed by David Allan Coe first.
Right. It was originally performed or recorded by David Allan Coe for his album of the same name.
And it's interesting to anybody out there, pull that up on your Spotify or your Apple Music. It's now that you've heard this current version that every cover band in America has been playing and Chris Stapleton's had on the radio, go back to the original. It's significantly different than what you think it is.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, you'll get covers that overshadow the originals. I'm thinking of like Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the standard people think of now.
Yeah.
They don't think of Cohen, right? It's Leonard Cohen that actually wrote that song, but everybody thinks of the Jeff Buckley version.
I can think of a few too. Like speaking of, is that a Joy Division or a New Order song? Blue Monday. It was. I think that was New Order.
New Order.
But remember that band, that new metal band, Orgy, covered it.
Yeah, that's right.
In what, like 2000? And that was, people are going, oh my God, this song, oh my God.
So great. It's like, yeah.
Yep.
It's actually a cover, but okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, and the Dixie Chicks covered Landslide, and people going, oh, have you heard this Landslide song that the Dixie Chicks wrote? Well, Stevie Nicks wrote that one actually, but okay.
Right. Yeah, same thing when the Smashing Pumpkins covered it.
Yep.
Yeah, had a lot of people coming out thinking it was a Billy Corgan song. It's like, no.
Yeah, we just had Andy Padlin on from Sponge, but he was also for a while in
Brownsville Station.
Yeah, Brownsville Station.
Yeah.
So we talked about all the covers of Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was actually a cool episode. That was one of the ones I've listened to.
Oh, cool.
Sponge. It was cool because I don't think many people, you either know and love Sponge or you have no clue who they are.
Right.
Because they were overshadowed by a lot of those late 90s bands like the Collective Souls and the Toad the Wet Sprockets or whatever. But man, I loved Sponge. I mean, I think they're still playing kind of, right? Aren't they?
Yeah, they're still playing. I think they just did some Las Vegas set or something. They're still planning on touring when all that shit's over, and they've got a new album that they're supposedly working on.
Yep.
And I was listening to I don't know when you recorded that, the Billy Gould Faith No More episode.
Yeah,
that was cool as well.
Yes. Oh, he was so fun to have on.
Yeah. That was just wow.
Yeah, we're both monster Faith No More fans.
I could tell on a few of those episodes I listened to, I'm like, holy shit, these guys are like holding back their right. Okay, so I got to tell you how much you mean to me.
Right. So I wrote you a poem. I hope this is okay. I don't want to make it weird, but
I'm going to need your personal address so that I can come deliver the package to you.
Yeah.
I've been that way too before, though, where you're just like, I can't believe I'm talking to this person. They're
it's so hard to do because you're like, on one hand, you're like, I want to be cool, I want to be professional. Then on the other hand, like, I may never get to talk to this person again. I want to be able to say this shit.
Right.
I want you to know like what this meant to me, or hopefully be best friends forever.
Yeah.
Fuck being cool. Like, just, I'm going to tell you how much I love you. That's 2020 right now. Is like, I'm over that. I'm just going to tell you how I feel right now. I've learned that this year.
Right.
So I think partially defining a balance between those, but I also think that comes off as more genuine.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as you're not creepy with it.
Everybody's a person.
And to bring it back around too, I mean, that was how I was, like I told you earlier with meeting Will Whitmore. I mean, he's such a larger than life person. Anyone that knows his music and has seen him, especially if you've seen him live, I think that was you guys that were talking about that kind of stage persona of the larger than life thing. But he really gives off this like almost like you can't talk to him vibe when he's on stage, but then he's the nicest and most humble guy you've ever met in your life. I mean, he's so nice.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he's one of those that I wouldn't hesitate to reach out to him if I felt I'm comfortable, because he was so fucking cool with us.
Yeah. And that was just to be able to get to know him well enough to call him a friend, let alone to have him say, hey, we're doing an album. I think you'd be a great drumming addition to this album. Why don't you come down and do it? I mean, there's certain musical moments in my life where I think being able to collaborate with people like Will and the Dope Walker gang, I think that's one of my top favorite things that I've ever done musically.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Dope Walker album. It's just amazing.
Oh, did you guys like that?
Oh, yeah. We both have copies of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty, upon listening back on it, it's just very eclectic. Like every song is totally different.
Yeah. And it's a departure from his, like a lot of his folk type work.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, when talking to him, when you know his roots and everything else and doing that kind of, having that punk background, it all makes sense.
It's kind of cool. I think he loves that idea. For so long he's been the only person on stage that has to carry that load. And it's hard. That's why I'm a drummer. I don't want to be a solo front man. I mean, that's too much pressure on me and too many eyeballs on me, where if I can hide in the back a little bit, I feel good. But, Will's done that his whole life to where he can sit back and play bass and maybe not sing on this song. I think he probably really revels in that and enjoys it.
Right.
We were planning on, that album was completed in October of 2019. And we were making some plans to do a few shows, like, we were going to do Iowa City, Twin Cities, Chicago, maybe just a few shows, some one-off dates. And then, of course, everything changed. But I'm really hoping that we'll get back out and do a few of those shows when we're able, because I really enjoyed that project. It was so much fun.
Oh, I definitely hope that can happen. We'd love to come see that set. What I was going to say just a second ago, though, was there's something specifically with the Dope Walker, like every song I felt like I knew. Does that make sense? Like just listening to it, it was just totally like, no, this is really familiar.
I think you've heard this.
Yeah, it really felt like that to me. And that's kind of, I think, a compliment. I don't mean it to sound like it's not.
No, I would take that as a compliment for sure.
I can agree. It had some familiarity, not in a way that like, oh, this has been done before.
No.
But it just felt familiar.
Are you guys familiar with the Plastic Constellations from the Twin Cities? The other two guys in the band that's how we knew them. The main two vocalists. I mean, Will does a few vocals on there, but kind of the two main voices you hear come from that band. And if you haven't checked out the Plastic Constellations, they're just one of the coolest bands from the kind of late 90s through the 2000s as far as that original scene goes, where I think for a lot of people, every songwriter on this album comes from an old band, that people used to love. So sometimes I think that's where that familiarity comes from. But man, if you've never heard them before, then that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, the very first time I threw the needle on, I was just like, no, I know this.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. So into podcasting. So tell us all about the Confused Breakfast.
Yeah,
because I listen to a bit of this. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. We maybe call it 2020. I mean, this is such a pivotal year in a lot of people's lives. Mm-hmm. But I've done a podcast where the Pork Tornadoes have one called Pretty Cool, where we used to whenever we were just hanging out backstage, we would just hit record and have some drinks and bullshit around. But we haven't done that much clearly lately. So that's kind of fallen by the wayside. And I also do another podcast called the Iowa Music Podcast.
Yeah.
Similar to you guys, we'll do some interviews with some local musicians, but both of those being very localized, I guess, right? Where you have to know who the Pork Tornadoes are, or you have to know who this Iowa musician is to want to listen.
Right.
You sort of hit a peak, right? You just go, well, okay, this is as many people as I'm ever going to get to listen to this.
Right.
And I said, oh, man, I really want that one. I want to go for that one thing, that let's see if I can make this a bigger deal. Let's see if I can find this weird topic that'll make people I don't even know just randomly find it and like it. And so, like many people, I'm 38. I don't know if you guys are similar in age, but the 80s, 90s, I mean, I think very fondly upon those years of movies. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you find yourself, you rewatch a movie from your childhood that you swear you loved. Like you go, oh, I love that movie. I love the movie. And then you watch it and you go, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I actually, this is really not a good movie. It's the nostalgia that I like about this movie, not the
film itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So me and a couple friends decided we we wanted to take that to the next level. And we did the Confused Breakfast, which is essentially a review of movies from childhood, right? Where we strip away the nostalgia and we say, no, we are going to rewatch this movie with a modern eye.
Right.
And we're going to go scene by scene and we're going to dissect this. And we try to throw out interesting tidbits about the movie that maybe you didn't know, and really just interject our feelings nowadays about how this movie either holds up or doesn't.
Right.
And it's been so much fun. We've been doing it since, October. And we've been throwing out a weekly episode since, and it's been gaining some steam, right? It's that global idea that you like movies. You don't have to know who I am. You can listen to the podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's been, I don't have that much of a creative outlet anymore right now. Mm-hmm. This is kind of where I've put my eggs in my basket and said, okay, this is what I want to focus on for the foreseeable future as shows start coming back around. And it's been super fun. I've had so much fun. In fact, are you guys TikTokers? Do you have a TikTok account?
We do not.
I have not. I can barely keep up with the little social media that we do, which is probably why we're not a bigger podcast than we are.
Well, but see, that's the thing, right? It's a lot of time invested, and I'm the social media guy in the bands that I'm in and stuff. So I said, all right, this TikTok thing, I gotta check this out. I gotta figure out what the heck's going on. And it's true. It's a very weird platform, but I've never seen the growth on any other social media platform that I've seen on TikTok for the Pork Tornadoes and for Confused Breakfast. We started taking our dialogue of the movies and putting them over actual footage from the movies and then uploading them to TikTok. And it's sort of building this weird culture of people that I don't know who they are. And they're like, we love your podcast and we really love it. And so shoot, man, I'll take it.
Yeah, I've definitely got a few stories we've had on here that I want to animate.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Do you know somebody who can do that?
That'd be so fun. No, I don't. But here's a shout out to every listener.
Yeah.
If you do an animator.
If you do computer animation, right. We've got some amazing rockstar stories that we can share.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what's the first one that pops in your head that you would give anything to do?
Oh, probably Chuck Mooney of the Toady is telling us about the pickle.
The pickle.
He used to bring this Bon Jovi cutout on stage, and he hooked his distortion pedal, like up to a motorized wheel that ran through the back of it, and he attached a pickle as a penis, like in front of Bon Jovi. So like whenever he hit it, like it would spin. From the crowd.
I'm already seeing this animated in my head, man.
Right.
Oh.
That's one.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Mikey Two Dicks.
The Ballad of Mikey Two Dicks. Yeah.
That one guy, do you know who he is?
Mike Silverman.
I don't know if I know that.
Amazing guy. He's really interesting. He's got his own instrument. He's kind of a classically trained bassist and really jack of all trades kind of guy, but he built his own instrument called the Magic Pipe.
Okay.
Which is it's really cool. I can't
really
even,
interesting. Yeah.
I can't describe it and do it justice.
It's sort of like a synth bass that he created that has trigger systems and everything else on it. Yeah, it's really wild. He's a one-man band group.
It's wild. But he can play stand-up bass really well. Really good at it. And he got the opportunity, he told us, after he had kind of hung up the bass for a while, to play for Tom Waits. Like somebody had told Tom that he was good.
Jeez.
And Tom gave him a call. You want to come in? And he was like, fuck, I haven't played in ages. I don't know. Okay, but I'm not going to say no.
clears the schedule and says, yep, I'll be there.
Right. But he also plays the saw. We'll do the super short version. And we've got like the whole version.
Yeah, there's a clip just of this story.
Yeah. Tom was interested in him playing the saws, and he had because he's just a clever guy, like a rig, like a harness thing that he could wear to hold the saw in place while he's standing. And it's got two pipes that come out from the front of it.
Right, from his waist.
Yeah. And Tom saw it and was just like, anybody ever call you Mikey Two Dicks?
Yeah, I mean, immediately these stories need to be animated. Right. Somebody needs to call you up.
They're all dick jokes. That's everything.
Well, and that's what will be popular. We all want to see dick jokes. Right. That's all we want.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break now, and then Mikey Two Dixie's going to come back up and play for you guys.
I'm writing down these 2 episodes right now to go back through your catalog. I got to hear them.
There's a shortened version just called The Ballad of Mikey Two Dicks.
I just turned that into a clip.
Yeah.
In fact, we need to wrap this up so I can start listening to these stories. Okay, guys?
Funny stories, crazy stories. Before we do that, man, you did say, and I want to get in talking about working for a couple of charities with the Pork Tornadoes. So let's plug that shit for sure.
Yeah, nothing particular to plug, really. I mean, what we've done is as anybody should be that gets to play music and gets to make money doing it, right? Is like you should be appreciative of that, and we've always, anytime we have a chance, we try to tie in a charity aspect to what we do, right? So we put on this huge Halloween party. I mean, Halloween being one of the coolest kind of party days of the year. We did it for 5 years straight in Cedar Rapids, Iowa until last year. But every single year we said, well, let's just pick a local charity and give X amount of dollars away to them from ticket sales and stuff. And so that's always been an MO of us. I mean, why would you not do something to help out? And especially Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I mean, we've had some rough times. I don't know if you know much about our area.
Yeah.
2008, we had a flood. Mm-hmm. I mean, they called it 1,000-year flood. I mean, it was the most insane thing that you've ever seen in your entire life. And then this past summer, on top of COVID, we had a derecho. Do you know what a derecho is?
I don't.
No.
So a derecho, which no one knew what it was until this summer, is a weather phenomenon where it's basically an inland hurricane that develops. And we had a direct hit on basically a hurricane hit Cedar Rapids, Iowa for an hour. We had 140 mile per hour winds for an hour.
Holy crap.
That hit Cedar Rapids and just completely and utterly ravaged our town. I mean, we lost 65% of our tree canopy.
Wow.
Which is just, it's just terrible.
That's insane.
Yeah. I'll send you guys a link to some of the stuff. I have a few rental properties that's kind of been a side hustle of mine. And one of them, a 120-year-old oak tree smashed a 900 square foot garage, and it's no longer there. I mean, it's just,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, Cedar Rapids is a very cool place. If you ever come visit, it is a very nice. It's the smallest big city in the world, right? It's small town mentality. Mm-hmm. But I think you guys have referred to some places in Missouri that way as well. Columbia, right?
Yeah.
It's similar to that. Good people, but kind of a small town. But we've had some rough times. So a lot of these local charities, especially in 2020, man, where you can't get out and fundraise and stuff. So anything we do, we always try to tie a charity aspect into this. And unsure when this episode will come out, but we recently played a show at a theater here in town. It was a very socially distant, limited capacity show. It was our first show back in a very long time. And we recorded the whole thing, and we're going to release that as like a virtual live stream concert here in a couple months.
Cool.
And we're just partnering with some local charities to say 25% of every ticket bought goes right into their hands, kind of a thing. Anytime you get a chance to help out nonprofits, you just got to do it, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
You do.
Absolutely.
Especially, we've got I don't know if it's local, I don't know, or if it's global or, nationwide, but it's called Trees Forever. And that has come in big time for us because of our lost canopy. Our landscape has just changed, like nothing looks the same anymore. Imagine, I'm assuming our landscape's pretty similar from Missouri to Iowa.
Yeah.
Just imagine all the mature trees in your neighborhood just being gone and all of a sudden how that changes the view of your town. It's
right.
It's crazy, man. I'll tell you what, though, I did learn finally how to be a man. I finally learned how to run a chainsaw this summer.
Right on. Yep.
And like my beard is no longer a facade. Like I am a man. I know how to run chainsaws and I'm good at it. Okay.
I couldn't imagine not having to. I mean, I can because I've been in that situation. My wife's from West Texas, so we lived down there very briefly, and I swear it was so hard on me not having just trees all over.
Yeah.
Just some shade, right? Just a little bit of that.
Yep. Trees and hills. I missed those.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm familiar with the lay of the land up there. I'm from northern Illinois anyway, and grew up about an hour away from the Quad Cities. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's all kind of the same thing from where
Right.
you guys are now to where Iowa is. And I actually grew up in St. Louis. That's how my cousin, in my posse in effect, I lived there for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad took a new job up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And it was one of those things where I swore I was going to leave. I said, the minute I graduate high school, I'm out of here. And then I said, well, I'll go to college and then I'm out of here. I'm going to the coast. And here I am. This is home. I really truly do love the Midwest. We got our quirks, right? We're a little weird.
Sure.
Well, sure.
You can always go visit the coast.
Yeah.
You can always go visit another country.
Right.
But man, maybe I'll rethink that after the last year or so here being in the Midwest. But at the same time, I love it here. I don't know about you guys, but I do truly love the Midwest.
No, I love the Midwest. I don't think I could live in any place too small, but I do. And there's a big difference in personalities, even of just cities. Like you're from St. Louis, really different personality than here in Kansas City.
Yes.
It's completely different.
Yep. Totally different town.
Same state.
Yep.
Yeah, I've lived up and down the rivers from Illinois to Missouri. But it's all,
miss, dude.
Yeah, that's right. But it's product of the Midwest. But I've always liked it here.
And you're in Columbia right now.
Uh-huh.
Are you is that town sort of opening back up at this point, or is things still sort of weird?
It's sort of weird just because Columbia is very progressive.
Right.
So, and I don't know how this virus ever got politicized in the first place, but we all know there's political lines that draw around it, and we're much more liberal, a little blue island here. So,
oh yeah,
all around us, nobody gives a fuck about a mask whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's all over. It was always a hoax to begin with.
Well, of course, it still is.
Right.
Let's be honest, it still is a hoax. Okay, you guys, it was a total hoax.
Right. Yeah.
A year later, it's a
April
hoax.
Fools. Yeah.
I got my first vaccine today, fellas.
Hey, well done. Congratulations.
Vaccination number one. I just feel like a different person right now that I got this. And I was always kind of the guy that's like, well, I don't want to get the flu shot. You never know what's in the flu shot. And now I cannot believe a year ago that I would have said that I would have been telling you, I got this vaccine and I'm so excited. I would have never said that a year ago. No. But I hope you fellas can get it if that's what you're looking for.
We have both been fortunate enough. I've had both my shots, and John, I think you had your first one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my first one. I'll get my next in 12 days.
Yeah, what sucks is my kid's not old enough.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
That really kind of holds you back. Like, oh my God.
Do you think if your kid were old enough to get it, that you would be feel a little bit more free to do some things?
Oh, for sure.
But now you kind of got to go, oh.
Well, yeah, because even if we have friends that are, in the clear, that doesn't mean we can go over and hang out with them.
Oh, that's true.
Because they might not, they might have kids that have also not been.
Yeah, it's rough. Hopefully we'll get to that point though that enough people get it.
Yeah.
Did you see what did Biden say that by they're doubling their thing now?
Right.
So basically by what, May 1st, everyone that wants one has one.
Right. That's the idea. Just open it up to everybody, which I think is the move.
Hope enough people want one.
Let people get it. I think they do. I think there's just such a change in mentality that people, even the people that are like, I don't know if I want that thing.
Right.
I mean, just it's been a year. I don't care anymore. Just give it to me. I want it.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite memes I saw, and it was these two guys talking. It's like two punk rockers, and this one guy looks at another and says, I don't trust anything, being put into my body where I don't know where it comes from, and he was like, dude, I have seen you buy rails off a one-eyed guy in college and snort him off the back of a toilet in a club, and you had no idea what that guy's name was. He's like, plus you got a flu shot last year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what the toughest thing going forward is going to be is that every region, even every city, is just different in the way they view things. Like Iowa, we've had a run in with our governor. She was from the start. I don't think our state technically ever closed. I mean, she was like, nope, we do not close. We don't care. And I think our mask restrictions are gone and mask mandates, but for the most part, most businesses are still requiring that. But here's the crazy thing. So we did this theater show where it's normally 2,000 person capacity theater, and they limited it to 1/3 capacity. So it was 600 people.
Okay.
And it was, you had to have masks on at all times. You could only buy seats in a pod, and every little pod was 6 feet away from each other. And you know what? Honestly, it went so well that anybody that wanted to go and could feel safe, and anybody that didn't feel safe could stay home. But the interesting part was not one person said anything negative online about it, except for one gal somehow stumbled on our page and she's from California, and she said, wait, so let me get this straight. You're happy about selling out a show during a pandemic that will be a super spreader event and will kill people. And we're like, what?
Right.
Hold on, wait, what?
Right. This isn't a Trump rally.
We're very excited about this, about killing people.
Right.
But I couldn't even get mad because where she's from,
right,
you couldn't even imagine putting people together into a venue. But man, it's just so tough because there's so many. The entertainment business in general has been kind of the forgotten thing in all of this over the last year, because, you know, there's been the pushes of get out and support your restaurant, get your to-go orders. You got to keep them alive. But the entertainment business was the first to shut down, and it will be the last to come back to normal.
Right.
And there are these venues that are, they sent somebody from, I think somebody from Live Nation or something actually traveled to Cedar Rapids to the show to see how it was done so that they could help implement that elsewhere. We have to start. I know maybe that's a little unpopular to some people, but we have to start at least trying to open up in some capacity for entertainment, because these venues have struggled for so long.
I know.
To trying to get doors open, and what if we come back to normal and there's no venues left and things like that? I mean, that would just be the worst.
Right.
It seems like we talk about this every week, and it's a really big fear.
It is.
It's legitimate.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought that really, truly, our sound guy, that's what he does for his career, right? He's got a family of 6 and he owns $500,000 worth of audio and light gear. And coming into 2020, he purchased like $150,000 worth of new speakers and lights for the crazy summer that we were going to have.
Wow.
And then it all went away. And those are the people I worry about, because I really do think that this summer will be one of the most epic live music entertainment things of all time.
Yeah.
Even if it is weirdly distanced and masked, but I think it's going to be crazy. And I worry that there's going to be a huge demand for concerts and there's not going to be any
places to play.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, one of my good friends runs a sound and light company here, and he has, or had, I don't know what's going on, I haven't talked to him about it recently, but a contract with like MMA, like going out and doing like all these mixed martial arts events and big production. Huge moneymaker for him.
Huge.
And now it's just not been happening.
Yeah.
It's just like a hang in there. Hopefully it will happen. So just hang in there kind of thing. But
right.
Just close your eyes and think about all those hundreds of people getting vaccinated every day. I mean, that's given me hope. I think it helps. I think they said Missouri had like 20% of at least had their first shot.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
That's great.
And for a place like Missouri too, right?
Yeah. And one thing to remember too is like when you get that first shot, say it's the Moderna or the Pfizer, after about 15 or 20 days, I think you're about 70% immune.
That's amazing.
Right. Now they got the Johnson & Johnson out.
Yeah. Which I don't understand why the Johnson & Johnson's actually got a lower percentage of protection than 20 days after the first Moderna. But yeah, that second Moderna or whatever is just a booster. So it gets you over that 90% like hump or whatever, but you're mostly protected with that first shot. So that should make you feel good.
Which one did you guys get?
I got the Moderna shot.
I went with Pfizer.
Okay. So I got Moderna as well. Did you experience any symptoms after your first one or your second one?
My first one, not really. I haven't had the second one yet, but my first one, just a little bleh. You know, I didn't feel like great. Arm felt like I got hit with a sledgehammer.
That's what mine is feeling like right now.
Yeah.
It was the most painful arm load I've ever had from a shot.
Yeah.
It was tolerable.
My wife got the Moderna and she described that, and she was just really wiped out after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of tired.
She got hers before mine, and I totally blew an opportunity because, I should have just played it up. I was like, no, I feel fine. And then I realized as soon as I said that, I could have played this up. Oh, baby, I don't feel so good. I'm just going to lay down.
Could have got some breakfast in bed.
Could you make me dinner?
Did neither of you guys actually feel the tracking device going into your arm? Can you actually feel that at all?
I've got so many.
I pulled that out.
Yeah.
Yo, you pulled it out?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I've got one of those little matrix, bug suckers.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Sticking out my arm. Tracking device. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the cell phone that you hold in your hand all day long? That tracking device?
The Reptoids know where to find me.
All right.
They know where. And like, do they give a shit about me? No, they don't care about anything I'm talking about.
I'm super boring.
That's what I said. Why do you care what I'm doing? I don't care.
Okay, he's watching The Crow again.
Oh, he's watching it again. Oh, he's fallen asleep during the middle of it. Damn it.
Right.
There's an 80s movie. Have you done They Live yet?
Oh,
They Live. No, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Carpenter.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, good stuff. You do mostly like the 80s kind of the kitsch movies, though, right? Or do you do horror and
we'll get there. The guy, Sean, my co-host, is a huge horror movie buff, and I think he really wants to implement a lot of his horror favorites on us. And I think he's just biding his time a little bit. We go by committee. We let each person choose one in a row, kind of a thing. So we've done some crazy ones. We've done. We just recently did Over the Top.
Yes,
that Sylvester Stallone.
The arm wrestling. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like, you could tell he just phoned that one in. Supposedly, because Rocky IV and Rambo First Blood 2 had just come out.
Yep.
Stallone was on top of the world, and they just kept throwing money at him and said, "Hey, come on, just do this arm wrestling movie, just do it." And so he finally, I think they got up to like 16 mil, and he goes, "All right, whatever." Okay. And he just phoned that.
That's awesome.
Completely. If you go back and take off your nostalgia hat, I mean, yeah, he's phoning that shit in. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no rhinestone.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true right there.
Horror movies I was thinking about from just the other day was Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
And how the fuck is that movie PG?
Right?
And I actually looked it up because I was thinking about it. And so there's this big conspiracy that's kind of with it that like Spielberg basically like paid off people or bribed people somehow. Because originally it was slated to be R. And then it was like, no, let's look at this again. And then kind of got it down to PG. And that was kind of where the birth of PG-13 came from.
Huh.
Oh, there was nothing in the middle?
Right.
Yeah. It just went from PG to R back then. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's no reason that movie should be PG. There is none.
No.
It's a great movie. I love that movie, but right, it should not be a PG film.
Right.
At all. R was the right way to go at that time.
Yeah. This is cool with your 5-year-old as long as you're sitting there.
Well, then I guess
you need to describe to them.
I guess the argument they made was there's not a lot of language, there's no nudity, there's no direct violence, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but geez, nightmares for days as a kid when I saw that thing.
Yeah, clowns strangling you and people ripping their faces off. That's
yeah. But as long as they don't say fuck, we're good. Okay.
Right. No boobies. No boobies.
No boobies. Oh man.
Well, he does have a point. There's no boobies in here.
Yep.
Tough call. We're going to give it to Steve.
Probably having Spielberg as opposed to somebody else made a difference in that, I'm guessing.
I bet. Yeah, or at least his lawyers.
Right.
Right. I didn't realize that there wasn't a PG-13. That makes sense that they would have added something like that. But man, to think to go from a PG to an R, that's a very long distance to travel.
Yeah.
Well, and especially with how things have evolved.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a very different movie scene than it was back then. The lines are a lot more gray.
Yeah, that's true. Now everything's just, I mean, what's to stop? You used to have to go to you had to rent a movie or go to a movie theater where people could put you in check and say, wait, how old are you kind of thing. But now it's just everything's available to watch whenever you want to watch it, no matter what your age is. So it's just like, well, whatever.
Right. Meanwhile, Stand By Me was R.
Right.
and I still don't get that.
Yeah.
Right. Except for they smoke all over the place. I think there were 12.
Oh, you can't smoke cigarettes. Do not do that.
No, do not do that.
That actually Stand By Me. We should get into that. That should. When was Stand By Me? Was that early 80s? Was that early 80s?
Mid 80s, I want to say.
Mid to late, I think. I don't know.
River Phoenix was pretty young. I mean, he was
1986.
86, really? Okay.
Yep, that's what it says. IMDb, anyway. Good flick.
Definitely.
Good flick. A lot of language.
Yeah. There's a lot of language and a lot of kids smoking.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, there's a little violence, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
The dead body thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, but I would show that one to my kid before I'd show him Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Good point.
Nice.
You guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah,
Sure.
Call it good?
for sure, dudes. Yeah, it was awesome talking.
Yeah. Oh, that was a lot of fun. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, man. I had a great time. Keep us updated on what's going on with shows and whatnot.
With all this stuff, man, you got your feet in so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really honestly like where would be a really cool place to meet up. I think would be either once Whitmore starts getting back out on the road, or also I really got to go see My Posse in Effect. So so finally I can meet up with my cousin and check out the band. So man, maybe it'll be Kansas City or maybe it'll be Columbia or something like that. We don't have any current plans to come down that way just yet. We're kind of tapping into a few newer markets up here, like Wisconsin, Minnesota area. Hopefully eventually we'll make it down there, but I would say sooner than later it'll be probably one of those shows that I'll come down your area to check out.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, be sweet. Yeah, I'd love to buy you a beer, man.
Heck yeah. Then I'll just buy you one after that, and then we'll just keep doing that back and forth.
For sure.
Sounds good to me. All right, everybody. You've been listening to Undetermined Podcast. Special guest, Mike Schulte of the Pork Tornadoes, Dope Walker, Brian Jones, and always.
Always of always.
Yeah.
And more podcasts than we can count.
And more podcasts than we can count.
I like to talk.
We're glad.
For sure.
It helps a lot. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.